This is Water Elemental.
And this is Axis, and we are here today to talk about the League of Legends, everyone's favorite MOBA-style battle game. We're here to bring you some latest news. As you may have noticed, I'm a little bit under the weather this week, but we will muddle through as best we can. We've got some cool stuff to talk about this week. We have, of course, our new patch that came along with Zed.
The Master of Shadows.
We got some new skins that came out with that patch as well. Of course, a bunch of new stuff coming out for Season 3, items, visual remakes, HUDs, stuff like that.
The latest information on a new champion. I don't know much about him and or her yet, but it is water-based and support. Yay.
Oh, I know all about it. I can't wait.
Oh, ooh, you have information.
I do. And, of course, we have an upcoming visual remake for Nidalee. So, let's jump right into it. Zed, the shadow guy.
After looking at his kit in-game and stuff, I've seen some really good play with him and some very lackluster play. Not because of the people playing him, just because of how his mechanics work and just kind of how he plays. As you put it, he is talent light.
I wouldn't go as far as to say that. A lot of the things I've been seeing from him, he's very skill-oriented. He's very timing-oriented. He's so much pressured around building specifically and leveling specifically. A lot of people at high elos of play are having a blast with this character just because, you know, he does exactly what you want him to if you outfit him correctly. That said, in my experience, I'm not amazing at him. Again, I'm still trying to pick him up, but I'm used to playing Talon. I love Talon. He's my favorite physical assassin there is, and I was going into it thinking he was going to kind of be the same. Turns out he is not exactly there. Zed plays a lot. I don't want to say too much like Talon. He does have that sort of jump on people mentality. But Zed doesn't quite have the explosive burst that a lot of other assassins have.
He has kind of a setup time when it comes to
you have to stop, you have to poke, you have to do some damage, you have to be careful, because Zed is delicate. Zed is a very delicate champion. He has a way to get away. He can shadow, then jump to his shadow and drop a slow to get away from people, which is very effective. It's been great in lane. But the damage is not as strong as I would have liked. But again, with the sort of escapability he has and the poke range he has, I didn't expect it to be that way, but I didn't expect it to be so poke-oriented.
He feels kind of, watching you play him and watching other people play with him, he feels kind of like Zyra, as you have to kind of set up like a separate entity, and you have to kind of set up that entity before you can get that mass amount of damage, because you got to set up the shadow, you have to kind of time the shadow to hit in the direction you're hitting, and kind of, you got to manage two separate things at once, and it seems kind of like Zyra in that aspect.
Yeah, the big thing you have to do is trick your opponent. You got to mix up your tactics a lot if you want to stay ahead, because a lot of people are kind of used to this poke gameplay from characters like Kennen and Ezreal, so they're very ready to sort of evade your attacks. And so you got to do things like, you know, pretend like you're going to jump to your shadow, then line up a good E, or throw your Q from one angle and then line up your Q from your shadow from another, so that way they can't really dodge it.
I've seen people throw shadows into bushes, and then having when they're not looking up a top lane, throw the shadow into the bush, and then have him poking from the bush and then not seeing it, and then having big jumping into bushes and stuff, and then kind of warping around him. Some kind of cool play I've seen like that, and I've also seen him jungling, using his shadows to get around really fast, and that's kind of the most effective way I've seen him. That was the best kind of situation I've seen him in, is in jungling. But laning, I'm not saying it's just with you, but it's just with other Zeds. They just outlaned.
Yeah, he's sort of a difficult champion to get going on, but he's not horrific. Certainly not. I mean, like I said, I've talked to a few high elo players, and they're having a blast with him. Much more fun than I'm having with him at the moment. But it might just be because I'm under the weather. I've been sick all week, so I haven't been playing at my best. But so far, I've not had incredible luck with him. But I did okay a couple of games. I'm sure there's a whole replay of it up right now. But
I'll pick the one where I was playing Nautilus and you're just getting destroyed by that Olaf.
I'm having a bad time. I was having a bad time.
He was on TeamSpeak and he was yelling at all of us. And
I just get irritable when I'm sick.
It was so funny.
I get sick maybe once every 1 or 2 years.
He doesn't, like, I've been sick, like, twice this year, and when we're recording, I'm the one sick. And he's sitting there, and he's just like, oh, no, don't worry about it, I'm not going to get sick. And he doesn't. And the one time he does, it's just like, the moons have to align, and there's a cult waiting for him as the sacrifice.
The cult's always there, though. You just don't see them.
They're very supportive cult. How do they do it?
They're very nice people. So what do you give him?
I give him a 7. He had, like I said, I've seen some good junglers with him, and his kit is interesting, and he can have some really good plays, and he has potential for more, but he has a low damage, and his setup time feels a bit higher than an assassin of what he's supposed to be. So I'm gonna give him a 7 on that. I love his ult. His ult's really cool. Like
it can be.
Like the animation.
It doesn't really have any oomph till the later levels.
Yeah, but the animations towards it look really cool and stuff. So.
Indeed. I'm gonna give Zed probably a 7 as well. His lore is bland-ish, but at least it gives him some tie-in with Shen. Most Ionian champions have just garbage lore, and at least they're trying to do something there. I really like the way he sort of plays. His itemization is different for an energy champion. I don't like the way he functions as an assassin, but I do value his place, and I like that he has a little bit of team utility in terms of the fact that he can scout a little bit, that he can slow a little bit, that he has some control mechanic. So I think that's good for an assassin, giving him a little bit of team utility, like they sort of did with Kali, with her ability to scout and slow and everything like that. So I think it's a good move on their part. But like I said, I haven't been having as much luck with him as I had hoped. I'm used to playing Talon. He's definitely not Talon if that's what you're looking for. But again, I'm a little under the weather, so I'm not the best judge of it, guys. If you have any cool builds that you can let me know about, or if you've had better luck, please, 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 I'd love to hear about it.
Or if you guys want to send us a little replay or something like that, you're more than welcome to as well. We do love watching other people's games. Never know, I might do a commentary on it or something. So.
Maybe.
But we're going to be moving on to something I'm excited about.
Yeah, the patch notes.
No, not the patch notes.
Well,
we're talking about...
let me just do a quick one over the patch. Because it literally takes 2 seconds. Bug fixes, item nerfs. Read them. There's nothing I can really tell you.
Well, if we're on it, they did add the Season 2 rewards, like the icons and stuff. And
after a delay on them.
Yeah, after a delay on them. And you didn't get gold. You had 3 gold... things, and you didn't get a gold border. What was that about?
I don't know. I got gold in 3 on 2 different teams. I got my gold summoner icon, but I didn't get a gold border. I don't know what that's about. But
I got silver, so we are on par. But you got the skin, so.
I did get Victorious Janna, but no gold border. It's awesome.
What's scary is when I solo queue, I'm the only one out of 10 players that has a silver border, and that's...
Well, it doesn't show the borders for the enemy team, is the big thing a lot of people are getting confused about. It only shows borders for your team.
That's weird.
Yeah. But, clears that up for you.
I don't know why they don't want to show any. I think
just so you don't get spooked.
That's
you don't go into a game and you see
enemy
team has gold, and platinum, and you're like, well, I'm just going to do a troll build because there's no chance of winning. That's a good move on their part.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I was just like, well, no one else on the enemy team has stuff, so my confidence has been boosted.
Exactly. Well, you want to know about the new champion?
Nami, all I know about her is she's a water-based support.
She is a mermaid.
God damn it! I'm out. Why do you do this to me, Riot? I'm out.
Alright, well, we've been all waiting for this, folks. It's back down to me. So Nami is an interesting character. They've been talking about how she has support utility, and she's going to be a mage with support aspects. Kind of similar to almost how Orianna is being played right now. She has the ability to heal. She has some good damage. She has some mixes of different abilities. And we don't know too much about her at the moment.
They only gave us kind of a small amount from Morello. And, they did give us a, interesting look at her. She does have some really nice art style to her. She kind of stands out from Fizz a bit. But mermaid boobs. Why does mermaid need boobs?
Why doesn't a mermaid need boobs?
Well...
She's a maid. A mermaid.
Merman, Dad. I'm a merman.
Don't you want your maidens to have...
I don't want to be attracted to a fish.
And full lips?
The supple...
Because, no, really, because there's not... I mean, it's a fish lower body. So the upper body's got to have all the features, you know,
to attract the sailors.
and you know, so they can. We're not going to talk about that on the show.
I'm excited for a water-based support is going to be fun. We already have one badass-based water champion, that is Nautilus, and I'm very happy with him.
They're going sort of the whimsy direction with water champions. I don't think you're too happy about that.
No, and I don't like how the main support champion is female. I don't like how it's based on the archetype, how water's always whimsy. Water can be deadly. Look at Last Airbender. They can be deadly.
Oh, of course, Last Airbender.
No, the cartoon, not the awful movie by M. Night Shyamalan.
Of course, Last Airbender.
It's an American-made anime.
America.
To you outside of the United States, your country of origin.
That's like saying it's made in America, though. That's like saying, oh, but they're neo-Nazis.
Next topic: items. New items. Go.
We're talking a lot about new items. They talked about Tiamat, what it builds into. Talked a little bit about an item called the Hurricane for ranged carries.
Here I am.
Some AoE options. Let's talk about that a little bit. Tiamat now has flat health regen, damage, a unique 60% cleave, and a unique active where it does AoE for 100% of your AD around you. Oh my god, I'm so excited. I love active items with cool little features. I mean, when I saw Blade of the Ruined King for Twisted Treeline, it just blew me out of the water. And now
they're adding it.
Especially like on Darius and Garen, where it's just going to be like, AoE, 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 death. I mean, I just love items where it takes more into play than just flat stats. But that's the melee version. This is a melee exclusive item. You can only buy it on melee characters. It has no effect on ranged. But rather than leave ranged out of the AoE bucket, they've decided to give them a cool new item called Runan's Hurricane. Gives 60% attack speed and, as a unique passive, that your attacks fire minor bolts at 2 nearby targets, each dealing 50% of your total attack damage as physical damage. And it applies on hit effects.
Oh, we were talking about this at lunch. Caitlyn with that in a bush would just be like getting like 6 stacks.
The important distinction here is there's a lot of things that are attack modifiers, on hit effects, and next attack resets. Headshot is an attack modifier, so it won't apply 3 headshots to 3 targets. However, the build up to it is shots fired. So you will build 3 charges per shot if there are 2 targets nearby, which means if you're standing in a bush and shooting at 3 targets with Caitlyn, every other shot will be a headshot.
And it's silly.
It's startling to think about. Another amazing thing to think about is Kog'Maw with Madred's Blood Razor. Another amazing thing to think about is, well, of course, everyone's thinking Vayne will be crazy with this. Vayne, unfortunately, does not benefit because it's an attack modifier. However, Varus will benefit from this, which means you can go, I'm going to put 3 stacks on 3 people, and I'm going to detonate all 3 stacks on 3 people with my AoE real quick.
They haven't said the cost or what this builds into, unfortunately, yet, so this might be a really expensive item.
It's only 60% attack speed, though. So it'll probably be like a recurve bow and a dagger.
Yeah.
And then like 1,000 cost. Something kind of goofy, but who knows? 60% attack speed is a lot of attack speed, but I think they're going to probably add more attack speed items because they are knocking down Phantom Dancer quite significantly. So it'll be items like this that sort of fill the gap for attack speed builds.
How do you feel about this, Jolly Green?
Oh yeah, hi, I'm here. Jolly Green.
You came in while he kicked the door open. Your Storm of Rage.
My Storm of Rage is split into 2
I'm
beams.
assuming that other modifiers like Sheen and Trim Force.
Sheen's an attack modifier.
Yes.
However, things like Wit's End and Madred's and
Most
Last
definitely.
Whisper.
How do you think slows like Mallet, Frozen, and Phages are going to affect this?
They'll probably get...
Think it's going to get the big slow or the small slow?
I'm thinking small slow, honestly, because it's...
Yeah, they might have to put an AoE table on...
yeah.
Like they do with
Because technically
Spellman.
this isn't an AoE effect, it's modifying a basic attack, which is...
So I believe, since, by that logic, since Phage can apply on, let's say, like Parlay or Ezreal's Mystic Shot, I think it's safe to say Phage and Frozen Mallet Slows will apply on this.
That sounds fantastic.
And one thing I just read on here, it is going to have a reduced effect on lifesteal, which is also something that should be had, because if you're hitting 3 targets and getting full lifesteal on each one of those, that's
pretty nuts.
That's pretty scary. But
you guys talked about a few champions that this would work well with. One I can't seem to get out of my mind is Warwick.
Well, it's ranged exclusive.
Oh, that
Yeah, we
makes
talked about it a little bit earlier.
huge
Tiamat
difference.
is the melee item.
Gotcha.
And it's got flat attack damage, health regen, a flat cleave that it's much bigger than the old Tiamat, but it gets lower and lower the further away they are, and it has a unique active where you do 100% of your AD to everything around you.
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome.
So pop that, suppress them, and then just annihilate everything is
Basically,
what I'm hearing.
pretty much Fiora in a snare.
Well, Fiora with 6 Tiamats already is hysterical.
Well, the only thing Tiamat was good for was stacking it, because the thing about the old Tiamat was you could stack it, and the percent cleave was not unique, so you'd be able to get like 150% cleave.
Well, you could do potentially 300% damage to the person
next to you around.
So
your
GP
primary
would
target.
walk up, shoot the guy next to you, and be like, "Oh crap!" All over dead.
Double kill! What? I just shot one guy! What happened?
The guy,
second magic bullet.
shoots his fingers like, "Oh, that hurt a little bit." The 2 guys next to him just have their heads explode. Oh god, no!
So, what do you guys think about the trend of introducing these new items on the Crystal Scar and the new Twisted Tree line, but not on Summoner's Rift?
Well, these are the Season 3 items. These are going to be going forward with the new Summoner's Rift that launches in Season 3.
Absolutely, but they're testing everything.
There are going to be a few that are going to
These
be in
pre-items.
Summer Rift in Season 3. Wicked Hatch is
What are
gonna
they
be
afraid about? I mean, there's nothing going on.
Well, the thing is, if they put them in and they're not balanced, that will mess up ranked queues. Because ranked queues are open right now. So you got to be very careful about putting them forward.
Was it this way before? I remember quite a longer lull between Season 1 and Season 2 where ranked was down.
There was problems between 1 and 2, though. There were. So they kind of had to... They streamlined it between 2 and 3.
I don't mind a little bit of an off-season to test things and make things more interesting for the upcoming season without having such a, oh, hey, these are here now, deal with it.
Here's the metagame. Like, oh, alright.
There was one item we did not talk about, and this is one made for support, which is going to be fantastic.
The Sight Stone?
The Sight Stone.
Oh.
This is the Heart of Gold replacement. 175 health, 650 gold, unique passive. It allows you to place 2 wards every 3 minutes. These each count as a charge, and they refresh after 3 minutes. Basically gives a little support 2 wards for the rest of the game. While you might be saying, "Oh, Heart of Gold, I need it for the money." If you're saving 150 gold every 2 minutes, that's a lot better than 5 GP10.
And you have Sight, and that's way more important than a GP5 item.
Indeed. It saves you inventory space, and it saves you more money. So you're not earning money, but you're saving money.
If you've ever seen late game play, though, every time either team goes back, not just the support character, but other characters will go get an entire 5 stacks. And the full build for a support character is 5 items and a slot open for wards. 2 is nice, but I don't see it getting used in high-end play because 2 isn't enough.
Well, 2, I mean, you can compound that. Because early game, 650 gold, not that big of an investment. You can spend that on Heart of Gold anyway, and get you 2 wards. You can buy a 3rd ward if you need it. And you combine that with all the other cool items that are coming out for support, like Elise's Miracle, where, eventually you're going to save yourself a slot and still get the cool benefits you need, like the mana regen for that late game support. I think it's going to be a very attractive option.
Support's at least going to be more interesting. I hope. I mean, the metagame's even changing. If anyone's noticed, Zyra is becoming a very popular support character.
Yeah, she's one.
And I mean, Morgana is kind of in the same vein as Zyra, where they have the huge AoE ult, the snare.
Speaking of puns, Vayne is very popular with those two. I'm sorry.
Anyway,
slowed us all down.
Morgana is.
I don't get it.
If you look at her character tab, she's listed first and foremost as a support character. But the metagame forced her to be one of the most powerful mids and one of the most banned mids of Season 2. Yet Zyra, for some reason, is becoming a very popular support character.
Because she has the Heimerdinger turrets, which, like, essentially once she sets up, she's going to have 2 turrets in a bush, and you're going to have 2 people. So it's going to be 4v2 in a small lane, and it's able to push the lane faster and be more aggressive while having the defensive abilities like the snare and stuff like that.
And another reason is because she's so difficult to target. first in a team fight. Like if there's a 3v2 team fight coming down on the gank and you're like, oh, let's go for Zyra. You take her down, she becomes a true shot turret. And her and the AD can just pick them all off.
Zyra has a lot of mechanics that sort of betray the rest of the league. I mean, a lot of champions are like, okay, you have a skill shot immobilize. You have to juke it around. If it hits a minion, that's too bad. Hers just goes right through everyone and hits everything in the line. Most champions with a big AoE circle sort of damage, like Morgana, for instance, her damage applies immediately on activation rather than after a delay. The knockup applies after a delay, but the damage is there immediately, where on a lot of other champions, you might have to wait a little bit to get that kind of AoE. So she's very attractive because she's got a lot of mechanics that are sort of unique to her, in addition to her true damage and her turrets and her short cooldowns and her built-in cooldown reduction. She's got a lot going.
Morgana plus Heimerdinger.
Plus, she becomes the Jumanji plant that shoots spears when she dies. So if you do take out the support, she gets to do the Jumanji.
She absolutely does remind me of that. That's funny.
That's what, like, we were sitting here thinking about it. I'm like, Jumanji! Jumanji! But we got to move on here. We got some other information coming up. They're going to be redoing the interface for the item store.
They're going to allow you to add multiple filters to your searches. They're going to allow you to queue up specialized builds. They're going to allow you to have, being able to get to items with one click rather than having to go, okay, damage. I want to go magic resistance. Scroll down. Okay, there it is. Instead, you can just click once, bam, you're there.
And they kind of took this from the Dota 2 store, it looks like. A lot of the...
Well, the Dota 2 store is difficult to get in the idea of. Everything builds into something, and there's multiple shops, and you can queue up certain things, but then you need the recipe, and then you have to go back.
I mean, like, the interface for it is where everything's on the side, and then you have up top the menu which it builds into, and then you got this and that. So they're kind of taking, like, the sidebar interface to it and streamlining it, so it's not meant for someone who is, like, insane with 50,000 menus.
That is a big thing, actually, I think I like about the new sidebar, is that a lot of times when people are recalling, they open up the shop, and they're just like, oh, well, I'm going to get this next. And a lot of times when someone's recalling, you can just walk up and be like,
hello.
And he's still looking at the shop menu, and then he tabs back out, and he's like, oh, I'm at 50% health. And then he has to burn a bunch of summoners to get away, or he just dies. So I think this will be really nice, where players will no longer... just be looking at the store rather than tabbed into the game like they're supposed to be.
They'll have to stare at themselves. The animations!
I don't know. Do you think that the same kind of players that are dumb enough to ignore their character while they're recalling are going to be the ones that take the time to set up their builds?
Maybe. Who knows?
I sometimes just look at it because I'm bored.
Well,
and that's why
built out of that.
Oh, what is the lore of this item? I'd like to know right now.
Whatever happened to Doran?
These are the things you think about when basing back.
There's one more thing that's happening this week, and that is, of course, the Nidalee remake. They just announced this. This comes along with another heap of visual changes. Of course, with Bioforged Eris and Dragon Slayer Lulu. But Nidalee, the first one.
Oh my god, are they going to fix her clipping?
Yes.
She
won't have box feet.
Is she going to not stop throwing spears backwards when you change really quick? Goodness gracious. That's the reason I stopped playing Nidalee. I played her like for 10 games, got frustrated because the kill shot went behind me. That's it. Done.
I thought like the spear would just like the handle was going towards that. Why did I get hit for like 4K by a handle?
She shoots spears out of the back of her head.
Just like a small little like silo pops them, just the spear just shoots out.
Oh my goodness, if anyone needed it, Nidalee needed it, this is about time.
Her cat in without a skin is a little derpy, but the other cat forms are pretty awesome. I think a lot of people are going to be really pleased with this. But seriously, the cat is so derpy.
What's going on? Now!
Wow! You're like, go back inside.
Human form, human form!
But I imagine this will look really good. They're probably still working on a couple of details for her, but everything looks great right now. Traps look a lot... The traps, you're able to see the traps, is the best thing.
They kind of had an animation to them and kind of a color effect to them.
So it's a lot easier to see them, and you can sort of differentiate friendly traps versus enemy traps. Be very good news.
Which is nice, kind of like the Caitlyn trap, where you can clearly see one's green and one's red.
One is an evil cupcake, one is a friendly cupcake. I wonder what happens if a character literally transforms into a cupcake, steps on one of the cupcake traps.
Exhibit shows up and shouts Yodoc.
Speaking of Lulu, we have a brand new Lulu skin. This is the second 1350 skin they've ever released. And boy, is it interesting. Lulu's Pix, her little fairy friend, is transformed into a dragon. He's got cool new effects along with emotes. You got a new transformation for your targets as well as different spell effects. While a lot of people are saying this isn't necessarily supposed to be a 1350 skin, they think it should have been a 975. Riot is content with the idea that due to the new animations and the way the characters move around, it's definitely worth the 1350.
It's a semi-legendary, and I've seen it in action. It looks really good.
She's got, like, look at that hat. The hat stands out for me. How detailed is that hat compared to some of the other skins? It has a lot more detail into it. You have a different looking, pixing, which is a major mechanic of the game, so having something completely different for it is another change of pace, as well as other animation stuff. So I can understand it not being legendary, but it is a little high price, but, you know.
But once you take a look at it, the particle effects are fantastic. The Pix Go ability, I think it's her W. It also doubles for the polymorph. I'm not entirely sure. I haven't played her in a while. But the one that sends Pix to another character, it makes them swirl around with these like tiny little, almost dragony things. It just looks really, really good. I don't mind it. I might actually pick it up because I've been playing Lulu a lot
And the
more.
second skin is Darfort Motherfuckers.
Oh,
Excuse
he
me.
needed it.
Excuse me, it's Bioforge now.
Direforge sounds so much cooler, though. That's what I've been calling it. I love Darius. I know everyone thinks I'm a noob for playing him. They think he's easy. Whatever. It's like eating chocolate. You just
Very, very painful,
Dude.
Lady Chocolate.
His pack oozes. His pack oozes. His little tubes light up. He swings. His pack oozes.
Reminds me a little bit of Buzz Lightyear for some reason.
People explode in green when you execute them, and then his pack oozes.
I think he likes his oozes.
I wanted to play a threes team with Augmented Singe, Bioforge Darius, and Mad Scientist.
Singe.
Not Mad Scientist Singe. You can't have two Singes on one team.
Oh,
But what's his face? Ziggs.
Ziggs.
And just run around as a crazy alchemy team. Or maybe even Mundo, who knows. But
Brand, he's got the green
The
action
zombie
going.
brand.
The zombie
that's right,
Brand.
the Zed brand. But I don't know. His pack oozes, and
Did you mention that his pack oozes?
his pack oozes. I love it. I love it so much.
And that one's only $9.75.
I'm a biased Darius player. If you're a biased Darius player, get the pack oozing
So
ASAP.
I know I kind of jumped in mid-show. Have you guys talked about Zed yet?
Yes, we have.
Okay.
Your review.
I just want to review, again, he's bad. Please. Oh my, I don't know, I have no idea what your opinion of him was.
Sevens.
But I have lost every single game that Zed has been on my team, to the point where if I get bans, he's the ban. I don't care. I don't care if he's one of those characters that's like Oriana and he's just really good, no one knows how to play him yet. I don't care. He's bad.
He doesn't do a ton of damage, and
He doesn't fill either role. If you build him tanky, he does 0 damage and is a mediocre tank. If you build him damage, he's a cupcake that gets 3 hit. I cannot stand him.
He kept getting Malzahar barfed on, like, every game. Even the game that, like...
yeah, no, like we had an Akali that was like 17-4, and I was like 4-8, and they're like, get the Zed! What are you doing?
He's sitting there, like, every card
Akali
control on him.
is killing him, and he turns and looks at me like, oh, you're getting alted. Why are you doing this to me?
It was...
He does so very
Please,
little
I'm
damage.
urging you, LoL players, learn to play him first. Play some games. Don't just
Just
oh,
get,
Zed
if you
is
want
cool.
if you want to get an assassin, play Talon. It's as simple as that.
Alright, we gotta move. We're running way on time. There's so much information. We're gonna move on to our questions this week.
Ooh.
Our first question comes from W Will, and he says...
He's WW ill.
Nope, moving on.
What is the weirdest champion you have seen or played with in the jungle? My friend tried out as Vayne Vagar, and it did really well on normal, but not on ranked.
Ooh, Heimerdinger.
Heimerdinger.
He maybe he doesn't seem too odd, but Heimerdinger was the most interesting.
You know, with the new jungle changes, Heimerdinger might actually be a really good meta choice for the jungle, because they attack the nearest target now instead of who did the last damage. So you have tank turrets. It'd be great.
I've seen a jungle brand, and it worked out decently. He got his AoE first, and he was able to burn, and he built with a lot of runes and defensive, and then he kind of built into the AP. What didn't work was he was really bad at hitting skill shots, so coming out of the jungles with skill shots was kind of, couldn't line up any stuns, and he was just kind of like, oh, I'm out. Bye, guys. What about you?
Jungle Lee Sin is the craziest one I've tried.
Yeah,
No.
no one ever does that.
He's blind!
I did Jungle Zillion.
Okay!
Don't do it. Don't do it. That's all I'm gonna say.
We have a winner.
He does nothing to anything. He's like, all right, the minions are down to half. Let me just wait 10 seconds. I'll do it again. And just like,
Hold on. Let me slow them down.
like, oh, stop hitting me. But it is nice having the blue buff on Zillion at all times, so that's nice.
All right. And our second question comes from Mr. Meister12, and he asks, what do you guys think about some of the items being removed, such in special cases as Heart of Gold and Madrid's Blood Razor?
Heart of Gold
Was really needed to be fixed or removed.
everybody got Heart of Gold. Everybody who could get Heart of Gold, and it was just sort of a boring addition to the game. So they're getting rid of it to make it more attractive.
There's nothing about it that doesn't say, hey, you could use me. Who likes gold? I like gold. Who likes health?
I like health!
And it's $8.25 to build.
Who likes armor? I like armor!
Heart of Gold doesn't give armor.
That's
That's in Season 1!
No.
Do you play this game?
Oh my
Shit, you
goodness.
cut me.
Well, he never plays a melee champion whatsoever, so...
Oh, Malka's melee.
I-
Madrid's Blood Razor is taken out. It's getting replaced with Blade of the Fallen King, or whatever he's
Wicked
called.
And I'm okay with that. I love that.
Madrid's Blood Razor was way too expensive. It was designed for the days when Sunfire stacking was commonplace. Seriously, no, look it up. Madrid's Blood Razor came out to counter Sunfire cape stacking. And
More
so
capes!
It's 4K gold for this item, and it's a trap for a lot of characters. Like, oh, that's good. It's a good choice. But ultimately, I'm glad it's being taken out, replaced with this different item. Items with actives are cool, and Blade of the Fallen King is definitely a cool item.
If you guys have a question for us, feel free to leave a comment down below or email us at spasticgaming@gmail.com. We love questions. We love answering them. It always gives us something interesting to talk about behind all the boring patch notes. But we have an announcement to make. I've been working on this project for quite some
I
time.
don't know what he's talking about.
We have a new website up. It is a collaboration site. It is lostforge.net. We're going to be having more than just ourselves on there. We're going to have Let's Play videos. We're going to have gaming articles, gaming reviews. It's going to be a collaboration site between me and many other lesser known but very well made content.
I'll be there too.
You will! I'm so glad you finally joined in on this.
I was waiting for the announcement to announce my joining of the Lost Forge. But anyway, guys, this is a collaboration site, so if you're interested in writing articles or doing Let's Plays of any kind, go ahead and poke us, send us an email or whatever, and you can even think about getting your own content on the site.
Yeah, definitely. We're more than welcome to allow anybody that has some sort of, good style that needs a little bit more recognition and stuff, because we know how hard that is to get out there, so.
Do we?
We do.
No, all our fans just dropped into our laps, if I recall correctly.
Oh, yes.
I remember that.
Just 560 subscribers just out of the blue.
Oh, God.
Because we used one of those, site. I mean, nothing.
We used an ELO booster.
Hardcore.
Only Jack Smith came and played on our YouTube channel. But anyway, this has been Axis.
And Water Elemental.
And late Jolly Green.
And, Ray, we love pizza.